we've got a little bit of work to do on the bike before we can pull it out of the barn. We've got flat tires, engine set up. We may have to cut the chain on it, but yep. .48 EL 7811. It's 61 cubic inch, 1948 Harley Davidson Panhead. First year of the Pan, last year of the Springer front end. Something really unique about this motorcycle, and when we do this motorcycle, preserve it, I want to emphasize. It's got what I believe they called a speedy shift. It's an aftermarket accessory at the time. This has got your standard first, neutral, second, third, and fourth gear displacement on the transmission. This bike would have originally come with the standard tank shift foot clutch. This guy's been converted over to a hand clutch foot shift. I think this is probably one of the first one of those I've ever seen. I want to point out a few of the finer points on this motorcycle. This motorcycle has got a little bit different front fender tip. It's got a really super neat light bar. I'd never seen one of those before, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a common item. Whether it was Harley or whether it was Buco or one of the other aftermarket companies at the time, I'm not sure which. The speedometer on this motorcycle registers 38,122 miles. The speedometer, outside of the chrome bezel on the speedometer itself, is in pretty good shape. The numbers are a little faded down here on the trip meter, but the numbers on the top part are clearly plain, nice and clean. It does have this luggage rack, which I've seen many times before, and it has the rear bumper, which is kind of unique. It's got the glass lens, rear lights, probably auxiliary brake lights, more than likely auxiliary brake lights or auxiliary, tail lights. It's got the original Harley Davidson glass lens. We put air in the tires and got it into neutral, which was a chore, but overall it's going to be a-okay. This motorcycle is unique to its vintage because it is the first year of the Panhead, and this is the 61 cubic inch engine. There's some problems here with it. The engine is pretty trashed from years of sitting. Transmission, drivetrain, but again, I want to emphasize that we are going to take this motorcycle and preserve it, not restore it. It's seldom that you find a motorcycle such as this in a barn, and I appreciate Mrs. Fox's ability to let me purchase this motorcycle very much, and her sons Dustin and Jason, I appreciate their ability to let me purchase this motorcycle. This was their dad's motorcycle, and I know that the boys wanted to do something with it, but at this time they were unable to do anything with it. And quite honestly, if this motorcycle sat for another 10 years, I don't know what would be left. The gas tanks, they've got some corrosion in them. I'm hoping that we can clean them out and go from there with it. Of course, the wiring is pretty trashed. I'll put a new wiring harness on it this winter. New oil tank. This oil tank's got a hole rusted right through it. But there it is. 1948, 61 cubic inch Harley Davidson Panhead. First year. Last year of the Springer. from Mrs. Fox and her family. This motorcycle was last owned by Darwin Finger, who lives out on the bluff here in Penn Yan, New York. And one of the first things I want to do is stop by and show it to Darwin. I think he sold this motorcycle to Mr. Don Fox back in about 1966 for $225. Because I never kiss and tell, I won't tell what I paid for it. But it was a lot more than $225. That's good, Ryan. Here we are loading that 1948 61-inch panhead on the trailer. Ryan's currently 18 years old. And just take a pan shot of what we got going on here. What do you think, Ryan? Can we save it? Yeah, sure. Beautiful day here in upstate New York.